Saturday morning. Yes, you're tuned in. It is Saturday morning collector radio show. We got comments to read, things to talk about. This time around, I'm about to talk a little bit about some money and things like that. But anyway, and I guess what things cost in a sense, and certain things that doesn't seem to come down in price as they keep going up in price, or they've came to a point where they're just not. They're kind of uh, lingering around. This week, a friend of mine and myself, we took a trip down to Tombstone area in Arizona, and also stopped at one of the really neat premier shops out there in Sierra Vista area, which is, you know, that's a really good shop down there. They have a lot of cool surplus things in there, and again, this kind of sparked a little bit of like what I wanted to talk about this week was, man, we saw this Beretta uh, M9 or 92 in the showcase, and we couldn't figure out quite what the difference was. But being that this place had a lot of surplus stuff, we were wondering if it was like an actual military contractor one, because this baby was used and it was 800 bucks. Not a ding on the shop. I'm not saying that they're just like overcharging people or anything like that, but because they had another one next to it that was moderate, like priced as they normally are. And the no joke though, Beretta 92s, it does seem like no matter where you go, you're always going to spend about seven on one. And even on the used market, they haven't really come down. You just don't really see them. At least I haven't. You just don't see them for 400 bucks or something like that. And that goes even as far back as when I was trying to pick one up. So it's kind of interesting, that's one that I've always noticed it has not really come down. So, and also we did stop at Tombstone. We went to, sadly to say this, I'm actually disappointed in this. We went to Tombstone, and we went into the cigar shop or the tobacco shop in there. I don't know if anybody's ever been down to Tombstone from here, but the people that are in that cigar place, we had a really less stellar experience in there than you would hope that you would have. Um, the guy at the counter was rather rude to us, talking about because I guess we didn't shut the door behind us or something like that. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was a customer's job to shut the door, but I don't know. But he was really rude to us. Basically, we turned around, walked out, didn't even. I was like, yeah, we're not going to even buy anything from you. I actually wanted a sarsaparilla. They do sell them there, but definitely was not going to leave any of my money at that shop, and probably in the future endeavors down there, not going to. And certainly, definitely a poor representation of anybody, down there doing that, because usually all those places down there in Tombstone, if you've ever been there, is really, really good people, really nice, like little nice, small, little tight knit town. You definitely go for the experience more than anything. The shops are a lot of it full of trinkets and things like that. So you kind of pick and choose what you look through. But I don't know. I'd stay away from the cigar shop though. Anyway, no, I don't know. In my business, like at least with my business, that what I do is I always treat people really. I try to treat them the best we can. Because hey, it sucks when you're on that receiving end, when you're coming in and you just get horrible treatment from people that work there, and it's like, come on. All right, we're gonna go ahead and read some comments. This one here, Sean Lee says, "Morning, y'all. Nice looking model 19. Love me the old Smiths. Yes, a lot of the old Smiths are nice. Although I must say that I definitely like that new one I picked up. It's a good shooter. It's strong. I do feel like it's stronger built than my vintage one. Even though yeah, the old vintage ones are really cool. They're collectible. I still take them out and run them every now and then, but definitely not doing anything to running high round counts through. So as I got into that 44 mag, like I said, and hand loading it, I did want something that I can actually take out and run it and enjoy it, and that definitely that new one served the purpose. It's worth every penny, including the nice rebate that they got for that, which I ended up using for good use. Nice rebate. Of course, all those things are closed up now, but I would say anytime they're running a rebate, so. All right, this one here is from Mickey Mantle. Play ball, man. Morning and a new year best wishes. I appreciate the time and talk you give us out here. All holed up, waiting on springtime shooting. I won't mind. I won't mind the cold bluster when retired. Bless you. Yes. I think when we're all, when a lot of us hit that retirement age, or some of us that are retired, hopefully you're good and you're making it by. You've spent your time on the grindstone. They can retire. I hope to, get there myself and be okay and live every day to the fullest. And I intend on my retirement, when I do that, I'm going to get myself a little pug dog. Yes, my companion. That's what I'm going to do. I don't do it now because I spend too much time at work and away, and I feel that's not fair to the dog. So I want to make sure to my companion, and he's going to keep me company on a daily basis. All right. So this one here is from. Hopefully, I'm not butchering this name too much, because this is really cool, because they're all the way from Italy. This is from Lamia Banca. Really awesome, from Italy there. Love snub noses. Thanks for the video from Italy. That's awesome. Thanks. I appreciate that. That's really kind of you. Crazy Scotsman. He's still crazy, last I heard. First off, I and everyone else who watches appreciates you, brother. Always making sure we are involved and bringing us quality information. Most importantly, honesty. Well, I do appreciate that, and I try to be, and that's the thing, just come forward like straight across. I'm not gonna use, like, I'm gonna tell you, like, hey, like, for instance, our trip down to Tombstone. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just saying that, like, hey, this is what we experienced. It was kind of terrible, and it's interesting because I met a lot of the subscribers at Tombstone and things at events like that or places like that. So it's always kind of nice, but unfortunately, that place was definitely left a really horrible taste there. Then definitely won't be going back to that shop. That's for sure. All right, but hey, just being honest, not trying to cause any scene or anything, but just definitely being honest about that. Been following you for close to 10 years, and no regrets, period. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Hopefully you don't have any regrets following us here on the channel. And I agree, when it comes to companies and going above and beyond, folks like Dylan are a prime example. They really do take care of you as a customer. So did, as I found out, MGM Targets. So not getting paid for them, not using lip service or anything like that, all free. I would say, yeah, if you ever definitely want to get a steel target, Mike Gibson metal target's a place to go. The other one I found that was pretty decent about these little knockdown targets is Let It Ring Targets. They're another really good company out there, just to prove to you I'm not being sponsored by anybody, not taking handouts. Again, I would say my only complaint with the MGM targets was the waiting time for it to get shipped out. Then that's a lot of it on me because I'm impatient. So, but anyway, just kind of expect that going in. Whatever you order from them, it's going to be like, a couple weeks or so before they ship it out to you. But when they do, they generally get it to you pretty quick. I have only had one bad experience, which happens to be with Lee Reloading. Since then, I have not dealt with them again. Excellent example of Model 19. I sure miss mine. Eventually, I will find another one. If I remember right, the -3 was the last pin and recessed. To me, it just adds so much more class to the piece. I think you're right. I think with the 19s, the 3 is the last pin and recessed. Can't remember if the other one, I used to have a 4-inch one. I let it go. I think it was a 3 or a 2 or something like that. I don't remember. It's been a while. That's too. I get comments on some of the older videos from way back, and it's like comments on some of the questions on it. It's like I gotta go back and go, man. First of all, that wasn't even our firearm. And two, like, man, that thing is so long gone. I don't even own it anymore. In fact, most of all that stuff is all gone. I don't even have it. All right, Joe P. Swig of coffee for Joe and all the working class stiffs, us 9 to 5ers, people that are struggling paycheck to paycheck, making it happen. All right, good morning, JW. Love that 19 snub, slug. I too have a Dillon 650, and it's fantastic. It's a fantastic machine, but it shines best when you're loading a ton of rounds and not changing calibers. That is a huge quote, people. If you're looking into the Dillon machine, especially now, like Joe and I myself, we have the 650, which is now morphed into the 750. It's a wonderful machine when you're loading a lot of rounds, but definitely not when you got to change over calibers. That is going to really suck. So just keep that in mind. I have shot. Since COVID, I have shot less rounds, but more variety of firearms. So my Dillon sits unused while I default to my 2 Lee turret presses. They are just so easy to use. And so convenient. Yes, they are. The can't deny that the Lee turret press is probably the you know budget versus simplicity, all of that rolled into it. Pretty decent on time as far as manufacturing rounds, even though I use it a lot. Even and you see Joe does as well. That's also good information out there. So 2 people that own Dillon 650, but yet still use Lee turret press the majority of the time. Uh, my Dillon 650 is literally set up for 9 millimeter, and it stays that way. Mine's getting pretty old and worn out, so it's hiccuping. It's getting some weird issues going on. I got to really service it, go look over everything, and try to get it back. I'm having issues with the shell, that arm that pushes the shells forward. It doesn't seem to be pushing them forward well enough to where it's seated them properly in the shell plate for it to advance, because then it's off canted and it's not lining up with the sizing, the sizer. So that's what's going on with mine. I don't know if I need to adjust that arm or that thing's just so worn out. It's definitely, the whole machine's pretty worn. So we'll have to see. Slim, and another good morning, JW, an awesome talk show. Today it's so cold back east. I think that the grips on the new Model 29 that you have look nice, and I would leave them on. I do intend to, because I figured that was, that gun marks what it is. It's the new model. It's, as I carry one said, it's the new kid on the block. I'm going to leave it set up exactly the way it is with the stock grips on it. They're fine with me. I know a lot of people find that they're too, they're narrow, but I'm going to leave them on there because I like them, and I'm just not going to, deal with it. That's just, it's part of the charm of it being the Dash 10, all the way to Dash 10 now, All right. That's the kind of company I would purchase from. Steel targets. Yes, definitely. MGM. Like I said, just know that going in about the shipping. Again, that's just me being impatient. That was my only gripe with that. But yeah, I'll order from them again. Also, Let It Ring steel targets. They seem to be pretty decent. I bought those little knockdown targets from them. Jerry gave us 2 thumbs up. The Real Cobra Burnout says hello there. Yes, the Real Cobra Burnout, another cool channel. I really had a lot of fun. I still like, and I still think his unboxing, unbagging videos of the Bud Case stuff is just phenomenal. It's just super cool. All right, and this one here is Gray Ghost. Hey JW, enjoyed the radio show yesterday in reference to last week's show talking about the Smith & Wesson wood display box you got with your Model 29. I just saw one on eBay for a Model 19 Smith & Wesson for sale for $205. Wow. I assume people who get this box with the handgun are turning around and selling the box for profit. Might be why they quit selling them. A wood box back in the day probably will happen again if these folks keep doing this. Yeah. There's always going to be somebody doing that, and it's capitalism. It's it's just the nature of all that kind of stuff. It is what it is. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I intend to keep my box because it's really cool. I mean, I think it's part of the whole kit and caboodle and the charm of it and all that. I don't think the box is worth $200. I wouldn't. I might pay $100 for it, maybe, but even at that, I mean, I don't really. It's not something you're gonna keep the thing in unless you like had it displayed in your house. You're not gonna take that box with it and take it to the range and be like, hey, I mean, you could, but I wouldn't do that myself. So I, I don't. Um, but also, back to kind of what I wanted to talk about briefly here was just prices on things. Like we were talking about the Beretta M9 or the 92FS and how that thing has floated right around the 700 and maybe a little bit more in some cases, brand new, and then used. It's like you still, it's just not. It doesn't come down. So it's interesting. The other thing is like like I looked into like if you have one of these commercial guns like like we're talking the 50s and 60s era where they had these phenolic resin grips on here like these and how expensive those are. You go on to like eBay or whatever and you look at, and whenever you find those, I've seen a couple auctions and those have popped up and it's like, oh my gosh, like why are those hundreds of dollars? I've literally seen them listed for hundreds of dollars. And people have obviously bought them because they're gone. They're gone. And the thing that's crazy about them is sometimes they're so old they shrunk and they don't fit on your frame anymore. So yeah, it's just that boggles my mind that the prices for these things that these plastic type grips that are on there, they're cool. They complete the firearm, but man, I don't know about that price. The other thing I wanted to kind of talk about, because over the years I've actually, being that I've had them, I've had one for a long time now, is the World War One repop that Colt did in 1911. Um, what was it? I think they came out with them in 2008, 2009, or something like that. They did a run of like 4,000 of them or something, and they came on the market, and now like I think originally that was supposed to be like $800, $900, something like that, and that's more like I guess price uh, price point, like that's more like I guess what I would think is worth it. When you're seeing these things getting listed they're getting upwards, they're creeping up. I've seen them, some of them are at the $2,000 range, which is outrageous. um, but they hang around. If you can get it for around 12, I would say okay, yeah, but they do seem to fluctuate between that 15 and 2,000, a little bit more. um, Outright honesty, as far as the gun that if you're just going to take the 1911 and shoot it and run it and all that, that gun is definitely overpriced and not as well built. That thing is geared towards the fact that you like it for the nostalgia, for the name, for the markings, the roll marks, and all the cool jazz that has to offer. If none of that appeals to you, you are overpaying for that thing by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You might as well just go get yourself one of those TSOS uh, Army ones that they have out, which is a phenomenal 1911, great copy of it, and actually now is including some of the really cool classic roll marks on it. Not all the way yet. I would like to see them actually like almost do some sort of patent dates on it and all that, including the U.S. property mark and all that. That would be really cool. I want to see that happen. But I just kind of wanted to throw the honesty out there again, like as Scotsman was saying, and share information here on the channel with things like that. That is like, do I think that thing is worth that? As far as what it is, like, like if you're going to run it at the range and shoot it, no, I mean, it's not. What it is, it appeals. That appeal is to the person that wants it for the name, for the markings, and all that kind of stuff, including the packaging in the box. If you're not getting the packaging and all that box and stuff like that, definitely would say I would hold off on that, because if the price is really high and it doesn't have all that stuff, a lot of that stuff is part of the jazz that it, included with it. So things like that. Just wanted to kind of touch a little bit on that. Anyway, a little bit of a shorter show this week, but I'm going to get out of here and let you guys enjoy your weekend. Thanks for coming around and tuning in to our show every week.